Hi, I'm Paula from Paula's DIY Decor, and welcome to my channel. I'm the crafter from Down Under, and today I have 3 very special, quick and easy Mother's Day DIYs. For this first DIY, I want to share with you how I made this beautiful rustic Mother's Day wooden sign. Now, I did use my Cricut for the lettering on my wooden round. It says Mother, beautiful, strong, kind, generous. I thought it was just perfect for my mum for Mother's Day, but you can easily use a rub-on transfer, or you can paint on some lettering, or you can use some of those stick-on letters that you can buy in any discount or craft store. When I used the transfer tape, it did leave behind some of the little weeded out bits that I just inserted by hand once I put the sign down on my wooden board or wooden round. Now, I did create kind of a stencil. I did want to use the a stencil for this particular sign. So I just used some white acrylic paint, and using a stiff paintbrush, I just dabbed it onto the sign just to minimize any bleeding. And then once that was dry, I then peeled off the sticker, and this is always my favorite part. I loved watching it even as I was editing. It's so satisfying to see the vinyl lettering just peel off the sign. So once that was peeled off, I then weeded out any of the last little bits inside some of the letters, and there was the complete insert of the sign, a beautiful stencil that says Mother, and it's perfect for this particular design that I wanted to create for this rustic wooden sign. Next, using my painter's tape, I just marked out a piece on the bottom third of this wooden sign because I was going to use some paper napkin to decoupage a design at the bottom of the wooden round. So to adhere the paper napkin onto the wooden round, I just used a generous layer of Mod Podge and then laid down the napkin on top of that Mod Podge. Once it was dry, I then peeled off the painter's tape. In peeling off the painter's tape, it actually created a nice straight edge. I didn't need to use a very sharp knife to create that straight edge. The painter's tape did it for me. Now, what I did neglect to tell you was that white circle that you see around the center of my stencil. I did cut out a white circle using my Cricut. You can use any circular form. I did this mainly so that when I decoupage the paper napkin and then later on lay down some white paint, I used that white circle as a barrier so I wouldn't go into the design of my painted stencil. So here you see me repeating the process in the top 2/3 of this wooden round, again laying down some Mod Podge, popping that tissue paper or napkin down, and then waiting for it to dry and using my emery board, or you can use some sandpaper to just create a nice clean edge. I painted the center third part of this wooden round with some white acrylic paint. This was just some acrylic paint I picked up from my craft store. It was quite thin actually, it's a Sullivan's brand, so I had to give it 2 or 3 coats for it to really be a lot thicker, but in the end it worked out well for me because I actually liked the wooden grain coming through the white acrylic paint. So here you can see me creating a circular form with a very sharp knife. This was going to help me peel off the paper napkin when I lifted up this Cricut vinyl circular shape, and I think it actually worked out really well. See, as you can see me peeling it off, it gives me a nice clean round edge when I peel off that barrier tape which I created as a circle. Next, I used my heat tool to actually smooth out any lumps and bumps. With the heat, it just warmed up the glue a little bit underneath the paper napkin, and I could smooth out any of the bumps, and it turned out nice and flat. Then I took it outside and gave it a spray of varnish just to seal in that colour and to really bring out the vibrancy of the paper napkin design and, of course, the paint. Using my florals, I just used some ivory, cream florals and some blue florals and created a little arrangement at the top of the wooden sign. And then when I was finished adhering those with some hot glue, I just turned over the wooden sign. Using some jute twine and some hot glue, I created the hanging device. Now I could have stopped there, it was a beautiful sign, but I thought I would just give it a little something extra, and I had this beautiful kind of mustard colour and white polka dotted ribbon that I just lined the edge of the paper napkin and the white paint on the sign, making sure that I cut one of the edges on a slant so that it would be in line with the circle in the middle, and just repeated the process at the bottom. And I really thought that dialed up the sign a notch and really made it stand out and give it that extra special something. And here's the finished project, a beautiful Mother's Day wooden sign that you can use for your celebration. I just love the translucency of the napkin and even the translucency of the white paint. I think it turned out absolutely gorgeous. Let me know what you think in the comments below. For this second DIY, I want to share with you how I made this very pretty Mother's Day floral wreath that you can whip up in no time at all. So you're going to need a ready-made wreath. I found this in my local discount store, some florals, some pretty yellow ribbon, and some floral wire. I started by creating a bow using my homemade bow maker. All it is 2 dowels stuck inside the spindle of 2 ribbon spindles, and that's it. It helps me to keep my bows together. Now, unfortunately, I lost a little bit of the footage, but all I'm doing is making some layered bows using a range of different yellow ribbons, some beautiful lace ribbon, and this gorgeous May Gibbs ribbon. It's a special design, yellow and green. Mum's favourite colours are yellow with a dash of green, so I always like to create a yellow Mother's Day for her. And then once I've finished arranging the bows and layering the bows, I just use the floral wire and wrapped it around the centre of my bow arrangement and made a nice I tightened it round and round and round till it was nice and tight. And then the secret, of course, to all beautiful bows is lots and lots of fluffing. So once I had fluffed out the ribbons to my liking, I then, using the floral wire, just attached it to the ready-made wreath. Now, I absolutely love this wreath. It is so thick and so vibrant, and it had some of these wispy little white flowers encased within the wreath, and I didn't have to create too much to really bring this wreath to life, but it's such an easy way to create a wreath for any special occasion, super quick. I think this entire wreath took me about 5-10 minutes. It was super easy. Then I inserted a couple of yellow, beautiful large roses onto the top of the bow. I used a range of different florals for this wreath. I used ivory florals, yellow roses, some ivory mums. I focused the design on the right hand side of the wreath, and then I just added a couple of flowers on the top left just to balance out the arrangement. But really the idea is I wanted most of that wreath to show, and brought in pops of colour using these gorgeous yellow flowers, some of them quite wispy, extending the shape of the wreath all the way around. So really just work with your design as you're going along. I really didn't have any rhyme or reason as to where I was putting all my florals. I just placed them wherever I thought they looked pretty. Now, because this wreath was so full, I didn't really need to use hot glue, but if you wanted this to be more permanent and you wanted to use it outside in a more permanent fashion, then I would recommend that you use some hot glue. But at the moment I'm hanging it indoors, so it's perfectly fine. All of the florals are staying inside this floral, or inside the greenery, and it's catching quite well, so I don't really need to use glue at this point in time. And here's the finished wreath, a glorious pop of yellow sunshine, sure to brighten your Mother's Day. It's so easy to make. Yellow always makes everything so light and bright and pretty. I hope you liked it. Leave me a comment in the description box below. So this next DIY will happen really, really quick, so watch and sit tight. It's a gorgeous teapot floral centerpiece that you can make for Mother's Day. I went to my local thrift store or my local Salvation Army store, and I found this beautiful floral pot. It cost me next to nothing and I thought it was absolutely stunning. I gave it a quick clean, and what I'm going to do with this floral pot is all I'm going to do is insert some gorgeous florals to create a teapot floral arrangement. I use this fern as the base. I use these beautiful white wispy flowers and these gorgeous little daisies. I was trying to create a cottage feel to this teapot arrangement, so using the ferns as the base, or instead of using floral foam, I found that this fern acted really well in catching all of the flowers, so I didn't need to pop some floral foam at the bottom of the teapot. But if, depending on the size of your teapot, go ahead and use some floral foam. It's a great way to actually catch all of your floral arrangements and allow you to arrange them in any way that you like. So as you can see me here, I am just inserting the flowers as I see fit, and they turned out so pretty. It was exactly the cottage garden look I was after, so I really absolutely loved this particular DIY, and it used no glue, no floral foam. It was just a beautiful teapot with some gorgeous florals. Now, if you're new to my channel, a big warm welcome to you. I love to make home decors, DIYs and beautiful tablescapes. For all my returning subscribers, thank you so much for coming back and leaving me those beautiful comments that inspire me to create these beautiful decorations every week. Please consider subscribing to my channel if you haven't already, and hit that bell so that you can be alerted every time I upload a video. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I hope you've enjoyed these DIYs for this week. I've thoroughly enjoyed making them with you, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Have a great week. Bye.